Good morning, everybody. We've got an absolutely loaded Saturday morning show on Carving Up Live. Going to get to Game 2 of the NBA Finals, an insane fourth quarter finish. The New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, are up 2-0. Stole both games in San Antonio. Will they sweep the series? Is the series over? And is this Knicks team, if they get it done, are they the greatest team or one of the greatest teams in the history of the league? There's some numbers that might suggest that they are. Get to that. Also, to get to Victor Wembanyama, he bounced back from Game 1, but had a brutal last 10 seconds. What to make of that? Also get to some LeBron James to the Warriors news and rumors that I'm feeling very, very happy about as a Warriors fan. Get to that. Caleb Williams on the cover of Madden, and people are mad about it. I have absolutely no idea why he absolutely deserved to be the cover of Madden NFL 27. Touch on that. And at the end of today's show, predictions for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Spurs, Knicks. Can San Antonio get back in the series? Can the Knicks, in essence, wrap it up? So we've got, on a Saturday morning, an absolutely loaded episode of Carving Up Live. So let's drop the beat, baby. Here we go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Carving Up Live right here on YouTube, as well as on Facebook, Twitch, X, and on Instagram. I'm Bryson Carver. It's great to be with you. I'm not gonna lie. You know, we've done, or I've done Saturday morning shows in the past. Saturday morning tailgate last fall during the college football season, which was fun, but never carving it up. Matter of fact, I'm not so sure I've ever done a show, much less a Saturday show, on Carving Up. So it's great to be with you. Tons to talk about, as you heard there in the intro. Game 2 was an insane finish in the fourth quarter. Knicks, Spurs, New York's up 2-0. I thought, I'll be honest, I thought about fitting a Red Sox-Yankees segment in, given that the fact that the Red Sox, who are the Yankees' father, beat them again last night in the Bronx. But I've decided, you know what? This is a great day in New York. I'm going to be nice to the fans. I love Knicks fans, Yankees fans. I know sometimes they can be one and the same, but it's a very, very different relationship. So let's go and get into the show. Tons to get into. But first, how about the New York Knicks? I know I said it out on Thursday after Game 1. How about the freaking New York Knicks, who won Game 2, 105-104, stole both games in San Antonio. And, man, there's a lot to take away from this game. I'll start with this. So when it comes to what San Antonio wanted to do to start this game and really throughout the game, they did exactly what and I think a lot of folks who either picked the Spurs or just hoped for a long series thought they would. They're going to beat up Jalen Brunson, be physical, make this kind of a rough-it-up type of basketball game. And the Knicks are like, okay, we'll play that game. If that's what we got to do, we'll play that game. I know folks were concerned about, hey, you know, the Knicks, not only they coming off 9 days rest in between the conference finals and the NBA finals, but they're coming off of a sweep of the Cavs team that knows nothing about physical basketball whatsoever. Like, we know that. Jalen Brunson got whatever shot he wanted against James Harden in that conference finals. So the Cavs aren't a physical team. The Spurs are. The Spurs said, we're going to make this a muck-it-up type of game. We're going to be physical. We're going to almost play the Oklahoma City Thunder strategy of, we're going to kind of foul you every single play. The ref can't call a foul every single time down the floor. That's what San Antonio did. And the Knicks said, okay, we can do that. And once again, he had an unbelievable first half and showed up in the second half. He got into foul trouble. There was some ticky-tack fouls on Karl-Anthony Towns in the second half. But when it was all said and done, Cat showed up and showed out. How about 21 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, which is actually low for him in these playoffs, even for a center. He's 8 for 12 for the field, 3 of 5 from downtown. Hit some big threes to help kind of get the Knicks back in the game after they trailed in the second quarter. Hit both of his free throws in this game. So Cat was unbelievable. Cat played outstanding defense once again on Wemby. He scored down low. He asserted his dominance right off the bat. But what is remarkable about this Knicks team? And it's going to sound cliche. It's going to sound, yeah, duh, Bryson. Cat was excellent. Mikal Bridges, we can show you what he did. Some were arguing that he was the MVP of the game. How about 26 and 6 on 8 of 13 shooting, 4 of 6 from 3? I remember it being a major story to start these playoffs. Oh, my God. Mikal Bridges can't buy a shot. Remember that Atlanta series, which all of a sudden are the Atlanta Hawks like the second best team in basketball? They beat this Knicks team twice in the first round. They haven't lost since. But remember, Mikal Bridges was like the one down spot for the Knicks in that series. And then I remember that Game 6 when they just annihilated the Hawks in Atlanta. A quiet story that didn't get a lot of buzz. Mikal Bridges found a shot in that Game 6. He played well. Ever since, he's been excellent in the offensive end, and we know what he can give you defensively. But what's remarkable about this New York Knicks team? Bridges was excellent last night. Cat has been great through both games in the series. Jalen Brunson's been great in the fourth quarter. He had obviously a couple of big shots late in the game, hit kind of hit a layup to put the Knicks up 3 with under 2 minutes to go, hit the tough fadeaway shot to tie the game, hit the go-ahead free throw after the Wemby foul, which we'll get to, obviously. But Brunson has not been good offensively in the series. We can show you. So, obviously, game 2, another inefficient game. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. To his credit, 5 steals in the game, but 7 of 25 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3, 4 of 5 from the free throw line, including a big miss. Could have cost the Knicks the game late. Did, though, hit the tying shot in the go-ahead free throw. In the series, Brunson has not been good. He's averaging 25 a game, but he's doing it on 33% shooting from the field, 23% from 3. He's averaging as many assists per game as he has turnovers per game. So Brunson's been off. Maybe it's the injury early in game 1. Maybe it's the fact that the San Antonio Spurs were like, even if Cat and Bridges and OG Anunoby or Landry Shamet, who had some big shots last night, even if they beat us, Jalen Brunson's not going to be the guy that does us in for our season. Which goes to my main point. This New York Knicks team is the best, and I want to emphasize this 4-letter word in the strongest word possible. They're the best team that I have seen since a team that I believe to be the greatest in the history of basketball ever assembled in the NBA, the 2017 Golden State Warriors. And there's actually some numbers that would suggest that the Knicks are just a tick behind the Warriors and actually quite a bit ahead of that 17 Warriors team, which again, that's some of my favorite times watching basketball because it was stress-free. The Warriors blew out everybody. Not like these Knicks are. If you look at double-digit wins in the postseason, in a single postseason, the Knicks are the best team in NBA history. Most double-digit wins in history, they're in a 5-way tie with the 17 Warriors, the 2016 Cavs, the 2014 Spurs, the 2013 Heat. Now, what do all of those teams, except for the Knicks, as of right now, have in common? They all won the championship. 17 Warriors rolled to the title. 16 Cavs, everybody knows what happened in that finals. 2014 Spurs just ran through the Heat like a hot knife through butter in 2014. And the 2013 Heat, people remember that finals being close, but that regular season, they were excellent. They went on a 27-game winning streak. Those are some of the best teams in the last decade, basically. Decade plus, because the Miami Heat and the Spurs were, 2013-14. But if you want to talk about the conversation that started to begin, Charles Barkley sort of brought it up, didn't want to go all the way in, understandably so. Like I'm not willing to say it's one of the greatest teams ever or that they are the greatest team ever. They are indisputably on one of the greatest runs ever. We showed you double-digit wins. How about something I think, really matters? So win streaks, longest win streaks in history, only the 2017 Warriors are ahead of them. Now, the 2017 Warriors famously started the playoffs 15-0. It actually took the Cavs having a record-breaking three-point shooting game in Game 4 to hand the Warriors their first loss. That playoffs came back, won the title in Game 5. 2017 Warriors won 15 straight. That's the only team ahead of the Knicks. They've won 13 straight playoff games going back to Game 4 of the first round. They're ahead of the 99 Spurs, one of the more underrated teams because of the lockout season, what have you, with Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and company. 2001 Lakers, I think, are absolutely one of the 3 or 4 greatest teams ever. They won 11 straight, not as many as these Knicks. 1989 Lakers ended up losing the finals to the Pistons. They won 11 straight in 1989 in the playoffs. If you want to talk about point differential, like how bad are you beating teams? They're the greatest team of all time. In that stat, they're the greatest team of all time. We can show you those numbers. Even with a 1-point win last night, they are still easily number 1, best point differential in a single run in playoff history. The 2026 Knicks win games on average, by 17 points a game. Got to go back to the 1971 Bucks to get to anything closer than that with Kareem and Oscar Robertson, 14.5 point differential. Back again, the 2017 Warriors, 13.5 plus 13.5 point differential. 01 Lakers again, 12.8 point differential. And the 91 Bulls, Jordan's first championship team, 11.7 point differential. Now, some of that is the advent of the three-point shot, and the Knicks did shoot far better from 3 in Game 2 than they did in Game 1, but we don't view this as like, oh my gosh, they're just going to kill you from the 3, the way that the Boston Celtics would, for example. Like the Celtics, that's kind of what we got on them for this postseason in the last few years, is they can be over-reliant on the 3. The Knicks are not only as well-rounded a basketball team as you could possibly imagine, but I was texting with a buddy of mine who's a big Celtics fan last night, and we were talking about how they're playing great basketball. And I was telling him, it's like they're of the same just like mental telepathy at all times, offensively, defensively. I mean, there are multiple moments in both games where you get a guy falling to the floor on one end of the floor. San Antonio gets out in transition. Ex-player, whether it be OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges, is flying up the other end to make a play defensively. At the very least, get a foul. At the better than that, a block or a steal. And so they don't care to do the dirty work. That's what guys like Josh Hart are for. They've got three-point specialists like Landry Shamet. OG Anunoby over the years, who's an elite defender and has played great defense in this finals, has improved his three-point shot tremendously. Brunson has not been good in the series except when it matters most, which is what he always does. And Karl-Anthony Towns has been the best player between both teams in this NBA Finals. And Kat actually talked about after the game what makes this Knicks team so special.
This team leans on each other. I think that's why we've gotten here. That's why we've had the success we had during the regular season, even when things weren't going great. It's because at the end of the day, when things do get tough and the trials and tribulations do present themselves, this team doesn't disband. They don't go away from each other. We lean into each other even more. We trust each other even more to get out of the rut. It's what special teams do. I mean, Jalen knows he has a national championship, and you've seen the camaraderie and unity they had. So I ain't get one. So, but I know the success I did have in my career has always came down to one thing, and it's been the unity of the team. How well does that team really, truly enjoy being in each other's presence? Because the NBA season is a grind, and you're going to be with each other more than you're going to be with your families, your kids. And if you guys don't truly enjoy the grind and the work that needs to be put in together, I don't think success is possible. So it's a testament to these guys. That's where the resiliency comes from, that we don't want to let each other down. We do look at each other as family, as brothers, and we don't ever want to see each other not succeed.
I mean, they're just always on the same page at all times. And it clearly translates, as you heard Kat say there, to their relationships in the locker room, on the floor. Mike Brown, again, I do not think Mike Brown is getting enough credit for the job that he's done with this team. Is just not just from a getting guys to play their tails off on the defensive end. Tibbs did that. Like, that was never a knock on Tom Thibodeau prior to Mike Brown taking the job at the start of the season. The problem was Tibbs, and this wasn't just a Knicks problem, this was everywhere Tibbs was, he didn't believe in a bench. Mike Brown's like, hey, I'll use Mitchell Robinson, and who gets the stop late on Wemby, who we'll get to in just a moment. I'll use Landry Shamet off the bench, who's been awesome in the last two rounds of the playoffs. McBride, all these guys, like, I trust him to come in, give me good minutes. I mean, there's a moment to start the fourth quarter where you had one starter and four bench guys for the Knicks. Like, just the trust that he had in those guys, Tibbs didn't have that. And so, and just also, and this is where, Mike Brown coached under Pop and under Steve Kerr. And the number one thing that both of those guys are just some of the best in the history of the game at is you can be a schematic wizard. You can have all of these different analytical advantages and what have you. What is the spirit of the basketball team at all times? And the Knicks could have absolutely folded. Up 14, fourth quarter, Spurs make a furious run. It's like, oh my gosh, San Antonio's going to steal this. And the Knicks, calm, don't overreact. OG obviously gets fouled in the three, hits the shot, or hits the free throws. Jalen hits a couple of big shots down the stretch. Like, it's just the composure on the stretch. We saw it in the first game against Cleveland. And then when it's not close, they just blow everybody out. And so Mike Brown deserves a ton of credit, is not getting the love that he deserves. Before we get to the Knicks, let's get to the comments because I see my man Patrick Brown has some things to say. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Let's run up the comments, likes, shares, and subscribes on both the Grid and Carving Up YouTube channels. Patrick Brown is the greatest teammate of all time. Speaking of great teammates, Patrick Brown is on that list of guys. Shout out to him. And check out his articles on the Grid Network's website. He's written some recent ones. Really, really good stuff. He's written some OKC article. Check his stuff out on the Grid Network's website. It's on, if you're watching the show on X, it's on, it's actually the top pin tweet at the top of our X account. You can check out his articles from there. Patrick does a great job. He says, yeah, definitely hit the high points leaderboard as well. Really appreciate the love, Patrick, for the Grid and for my personal channel. Definitely subscribe to both right here, right now. We'd appreciate it. He says, as far as the game goes, 2026 Knicks are a resemblance of the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. They don't give up or whine about trailing, finding a way to get it done and still win games. there's the similarities because I was watching Inside the NBA last night, and I think Chuck said like they remind him of like the '04 Pistons, where it's now I think the difference in that is as great as Chauncey was, Brunson's better than Chauncey. There's no question about that. But just kind of a well-rounded basketball team can beat you multiple different ways, great defensively, well coached. And Patrick brings up the 2011 Mavs. 2011 Mavs and the '04 Pistons were very much kind of underdog stories, especially based on who they took on in the finals. The '04 Pistons upset the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. That was Shaq and Kobe's last year together. And then the Mavs in 2011 beat the Heatles, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, their first year together. Both were gigantic upsets. This Knicks team, I don't really know what the comparison is, because here's the thing that might actually oddly hurt them in are they the greatest team or one of the greatest teams of all time discussion. They were the 3 seed, which that feels dumb, but it's like they were the 3 seed in the East. The Pistons were better, the Celtics were better. Now, I thought all regular season long, you could check the tape. I said all regular season long, I thought they were better than both. I picked the Knicks before the season to win the Eastern Conference, but I mean, they're smoking everybody, and they're playing a 62-win Spurs team who just took both games in San Antonio, which is unbelievable. He also says, Cat in the Hat Towns. I like that. Cat in the Hat Towns has grown up in his playoff run, maturity, poise, and having a strong voice to use in keeping everyone focused. If he keeps this up, likely the finals MVP. I don't think it's even close right now. Bridges was great last night. OG had a big game 1 and make some plays last night. Obviously got fouled in the 3 and hit the 3 free throws. And Brunson's been clutch. Patrick's 100% right. What Cat has done on both ends of the floor he's been great this whole postseason run. Not just from, as Patrick mentioned, maturity standpoint. He's also been kind of the main distributor offensively for the Knicks. Like he's kind of been like the hub of their offense as a big man, which is that like the Jokic of it all, like changing the game as a point center, so to speak. Cat plays a bit of a different role in that regard, but he's been sensational. And so let's talk about the guy who's been guarding this whole series. Let's talk about Victor Wembanyama. So we talked after game 1. The stats were very misleading. It's like, oh man, 26-point double-double, 3 blocks. I said, watch the game. He was great defensively. Wemby did not play well at all offensively in game 1. And to start game 2, it was, oh my God, what's happening? Like this guy he's not aggressive. He looks hesitant. Cat's kind of beating him up on both ends. And it got so bad at halftime, he's getting crushed on NBA Twitter and crushed by the great Charles Barkley and Inside the NBA.
Wemby's in shock right now. It's probably been a long time since he got his ass kicked like this. Wemby's spinning. You see he's throwing the ball all over the place. It's a shock to his system. He's too young to understand. Like, I got over it. But right now, he's turning the ball over. He is so flustered right now. And listen, we can say what we want to. He's 22. He's going to own the league soon. But right now, he's being owned. Big Cat is just taking his ass to the woodshed, plain and simple.
I mean, we know Charles Barkley doesn't mince words, but he wasn't wrong. I mean, he was, I don't want to say like looked overwhelmed, but it was like, dude, the whole thing was this can be the Wemby bounce back game. It was definitely the De'Aaron Fox bounce back game. And Fox clearly, if you watch, I think he got banged up a little bit last night. Fox he obviously missed the first 2 games of the Western Conference Finals against the Thunder. He just doesn't have quite that same burst that we're used to seeing from him, but he still played well. But for Wemby, it was like, can Fox and Wemby bounce back? Fox was great first half and second half. Where is this guy? And second half, he said, I'm right here. He said, y'all thought I was done.
Not so fast, my friends.
And he said, this is what I'm going to do. Second half and just the entirety of the game. Wemby was excellent for the game, certainly the second half. 29 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, 4 turnovers, 1 very costly, 1 late, but way more efficient. He went from 6 of 21 to now 11 of 21. He hit 2 of his 6 3-point shots. Could have been better from the line. He's been actually a great free throw shooter these playoffs, only 5 for 8 in this basketball game. And late, you saw this like, oh, there's the Wemby that we've all kind of fell in love with, is that killer instinct, killer mentality. He had the big and 1 bucket late. He hit some big shots, hit a big 3 in the fourth quarter. It's like, oh my God, he's going to steal this thing. Dylan Harper's making plays late, and it looks like the Spurs are going to steal this. And then, of course, the last 10, 12 seconds were brutal. I mean, there's no other way around it. They were absolutely brutal. So for those that didn't see the game, the Spurs are up 2 late in the basketball game. Wemby's got the M1. Brunson goes down the other end and does what Brunson usually does, and that's hit a massive shot late. He's the most clutch player in basketball. Hits the shot, nothing but the net, ties the basketball game. San Antonio's got a 2-for-1. They miss out on it. Knicks come back the other way. Brunson misses. Spurs get the rebound. And this is where all kind of falls apart. And this is where a lot of dissecting has been done, because for those who didn't see it, it's a tie game. Spurs had the ball off the rebound with about 12 seconds to go. They have a timeout. And a lot of folks have been saying, like, hey, either call the timeout immediately or pull it back, take the last shot, get the Knicks when they don't have an opportunity to get their defense set off a timeout. All of those different situational basketball aspects to it, all of those things are running 1,000 miles an hour in the Spurs' heads because they've never been here before. Wemby tries to throw an outlet pass to Stephon Castle. Castle's not looking for it. It hits him in the back. Brunson's right there. Wemby, out of probably frustration, panic, where his momentum was carrying, or maybe a mix of the three, runs into Brunson, fouls him, and Jalen hits 1 of 2 free throws. And then Wemby gets a wide open look by any standard. Mitchell Robinson was there, but not to the point where Wemby couldn't have made the shot, and he misses it. I actually saw a stat, and the game's over, the Knicks win. I saw a stat, and we mentioned this after game 1, that for as great as Wemby is, unbelievable defensive player and can do a ton of things in offense. I said this after game 1. He does not look comfortable in the mid-range. And there was a stat here by Doug Clawson, who's a great follow on X. We usually quote him throughout the NFL season. Well, he gives some basketball stuff too, and this is really informative. We said Wemby doesn't look comfortable in the mid-range. Well, stats back it up. According to Doug Clawson, there are 134 players with 35 or more mid-range shots in a single postseason in the last 8 years. So last 8 years, 134 players have taken at least 35 mid-range jumpers. Wemby this year has the worst field goal percentage on shots, 25%, 9 of 36. Like there's no other way to say it. He's a bad mid-range shooter. He's great attacking the paint when he got his opportunities. He can knock down the three, although there's been a lot of criticism today, like stop shooting so many threes. If you're Wemby, attack the basket. But in that mid-range, and we said this offseason, he's got to work with, my man Arthur on the grid said this, he's got to work with Kevin Durant, Melo, whoever, like mid-range specialists. Katie, I think, would be a great guy to work with because he's the ridiculous size and length and be able to shoot over guys. Wemby just doesn't look comfortable in those spots. And listen, folks were arguing, oh, De'Aaron Fox should have taken the last shot. To me, the only area where the Spurs messed that up is there's 7.5 seconds to go. Go quicker. Like Fox takes the basketball and he's like waiting for the screen from Wemby. Then he drives and then kicks it to Wemby and he misses. If you get something a little bit quicker and you miss, you foul the Knicks, and the game's not over yet. You're down 1. Even if the Knicks hit both free throws, you still get maybe one last prayer opportunity as opposed to just one shot and you miss. And so, listen, it's as simple as this, folks. This is the growing pains of a great young player. It just is. And it also goes to show you, and sometimes it can be the cruelty of sports, but Wemby has a brutal first half. Everyone's crushing him. And he responds in dominant fashion in the second half. And he has a terrible last 12 seconds. And that's what everybody remembers. It's like if you watch a great movie, right? Maybe the first half of the movie is like, it's not great. Second half of the movie is phenomenal. And then the ending kind of leaves you scratch your head a little bit. That's what this was for Victor Wembanyama. There have been plenty of games in the playoffs where LeBron James has dropped 40-point triple-doubles, but he has a couple of maybe bad turnovers late. And that's what everybody remembers. Like 2013 Game 6, for example. LeBron James, the Heat are down 12. He goes like a one-man scoring mission to get Miami back in it, but he has a couple of late turnovers, and people say, oh, Ray Allen saved his legacy. Well, there's no legacy to save if LeBron doesn't go off in the fourth quarter before that. Like LeBron was amazing in that game, but everyone tries to focus on that. That's kind of what I see right here with Wemby. He was under pressure. He wasn't being aggressive enough. Charles Barkley calling him out on ESPN. I'm not saying he saw that, but that matters in the basketball culture. And he steps up and is unreal. On both ends of the floor, he's always great on defense, but steps up offensively, is aggressive, leads the Spurs on this unbelievable comeback, and then just kind of panics late on the turnover to Castle. And so it's unfortunate. It's what every great young player goes through. I mean, Michael Jordan famously had some pretty inefficient playoff games early in his career, couldn't get past the Pistons or the Celtics, and eventually he had to go through that in order to be the Michael Jordan that we came to know. Same with LeBron, same with Steph and Magic. Like that's that's usually how it works. So Wemby talked after the game and was pretty transparent. If we have that soundbite from Wemby, pretty transparent about how the end of that game went for him.
Just wanted you to take us through the last 3 possessions, the 2 misses from mid-range and the turnover with Castle. What did you see and how can you guys react?
I'm still very blurry, and that's the whole problem. You know, I need to have more poise, more control over the game. I'm not going to go through the whole possessions, but that's the general image.
You know, Shaq was kind of hard on him about that after the game. Like, you know, if I'm, forget a teammate, if I'm the Knicks, I'm like, oh, you know, look at my chops. Like, oh gosh, okay. You literally use the word blurry. He's just like, it's kind of he's trying to process things quickly, and it's the finals, and it's the last few seconds, and I've never been here before, and you know, kind of a deer in the headlights moment. Whereas even if the Knicks haven't been to the finals, they've still been on some deep playoff runs. They've got guys who've been there and done that in conference finals and what have you. And so it's I mean, it's part of the process. Like, it is. And the second aspect of it came to is, okay, is the series over? Well, I said at the end of Thursday night's show, if the Knicks are able to get this one, I think it's a wrap. Because I've heard some folks say, well, maybe the Spurs can get one, and it's instead it's Knicks in 5. Here's the thing, man. First of all, just history itself is not on the Spurs side. We could show you this graphic. There have only been 3 teams. The Spurs became the 3rd team in NBA Finals history last night to lose the first 2 games of the finals at home. How did it go for the first 2? Poorly. Ironically, 2 members of Inside the NBA. Keep mentioning Inside the NBA. They were a part of this in a negative fashion. Charles Barkley's Phoenix Suns, 1993, lost the first 2 games at home, ended up losing in 6. John Paxson obviously hits the game-winning shot in that game 6. 1995, Orlando Magic, Shaq and Penny Hardaway and that team blowing through the playoffs, beat the Bulls with Jordan. They run into the Houston Rockets. Obviously, there's the Nick Anderson missed free throws in game 1. It's brutal, and Houston ends up sweeping the series. The Spurs, question marks. We don't know exactly how this is going to end, but it's hard to see a basketball team, the New York Knicks, who have the 2nd longest winning streak in the history of the playoffs, who are beating teams worse in a single playoff run than any team ever by a long shot, 17 points a game. Now they're going to lose 4 of the next 6 games. And then there's also in the immediate, that's long-term projecting, in the immediate, Game 3 was going to be insane to begin with at Madison Square Garden. I mean, now that the Knicks have taken 2 games, it's like, holy crap, we can be champions this week. But by Wednesday night, 4 days from now, we can be champions. That's a lot for the Spurs to overcome. That atmosphere, the craziness of Madison Square Garden. And if the Knicks take Game 3 and they're like, oh my gosh, we can wrap this thing up at home in front of the city and in the playoffs. We tie the 20. I'm not saying the Knicks fans necessarily care about this. They just want to win the championship. But we would tie the 2017 Warriors with 15 straight playoff wins and win the title in MSG. Like, I'm telling you, I don't want a sweep to happen. You'll hear my prediction for Game 3 at the end of the show. But it would not shock me in the absolute slightest. It would. It's not Spurs are mentally weak thing. Like, I think Wemby is a mentally tough enough athlete. We literally saw in how he responded in the second half after 6 brutal quarters of basketball to start these finals, him bounce back prior to that last 12 seconds. It's a matter of experience. It's a matter of, I mean, it was, honest to God, folks, watch the game. I'm sure y'all felt the same way watching this on television. Anytime the Knicks made a big shot late, or big shot at any point in the game when they're going their big 3rd quarter run or 4th quarter run to go up 14, it's like you could hear an audible cheering after the game. And they were even on the postgame show. It's like there were like 3,000 Knicks fans there. We know about the contingent of Ben Stiller, Fat Joe, Chalamet, Tracy Morgan, Spike Lee, all these people. Knicks fans everywhere. They're showing the arena in San Antonio, the Prospect Center, and it's blue and orange everywhere. So if it was like that in San Antonio, the heck's it going to be like at Madison Square Garden? Now, I know the tickets are outrageous, but it's still going to be nuts. So history's not on the Spurs side. I just don't see it. I don't see a Knicks team that's playing historically great basketball. Oh, all of a sudden they're going to blow a 2-0 lead and do something no team's ever done, which is win the first 2 games of the finals on the road and still lose the series. It's never been done before, and I don't imagine that'll be the case again. Patrick Brown in the comments. He says, in my finals preview article, the X factor for San Antonio was De'Aaron Fox. A solid game 2 performance, but it'll come down to consistency if consistency can take pressure off Wemby. Yeah, but let me check Fox's box score because he was much more efficient, had a lot of control in the game in game 2. He had 20 points, an 8 of 12 shooting, hit both his threes, had 5 assists. Like, Fox played well. He had 4 turnovers, to be fair, but I thought Fox was far better. There were Spurs fans calling for the San Antonio, like, void his contract after game 1. It's like, guys, A, it's game 1. B, he's not healthy. You could tell. It's like Fox is not as fast as he used to be early in his career, but he can still fly down the floor. He's got tremendous burst. You just don't see that. He's not 100%. And that's usually the name of the game in the finals. Guys aren't, totally healthy. It's the finals. Some of these guys have played, 90 basketball games this year plus. But that's the reality for the Spurs and De'Aaron Fox. Patrick, if truth be told, we were robbed of not having game 3 on Sunday night. NBA Finals from MSG, and the viewership would have been record-breaking on Monday night. I'm salty about it. I get that. I mean, listen, it's the viewership would have been record-breaking. Just the fact that, it would be on a weekend. If it was, obviously they're not going to have finals back-to-back days, but if it had been like tonight, for example, it would have been even crazier because it's not a work night for most people. So I feel you there. Patrick, LeBron, no headband James in Game 6 was determined to get that win. I don't care what anyone says. People can say Ray Allen hit the shot, but none of that was possible without Bron's urgency. 100% agree. And that fourth quarter comeback was without Dwayne Wade on the floor. That's not talked about either. Not to go off track to the 2013 finals and just drive the nail in deeper for Spurs fans. That said, when folks talk about, oh, Bron's had these super teams, like, Bron's really never had a super team, if you want to put it that way. That second half of the Heat, like mini dynasty, so to speak, 2 titles in 4 years, D-Wade was not this. D-Wade had knee injuries. Chris Bosh was still a good defensive player, shot blocker. He had 0 points in Game 7. He did not score. So anyone act like, oh my gosh, this overwhelming juggernaut in Miami. Maybe the first couple of years, not the next 2 years. In that 2014 finals, it was like Bron, and that was it. Like, he averaged 28 a game, and they got gentlemen swept badly by San Antonio. That Spurs team was just on a mission to get revenge for that finals. Also, before we go to break, I did want to say this. For as great as the last few days have been for New York City, a city that I visited for the first time in December, loved every second of it, can't wait to go back at some point. I did have to say this.
The Yankees lose.
You didn't think I was just going to let that slide. Come on now. Red Sox taking out the Yankees last night. By the way, they obviously play again tonight. Poppy, as you heard there in that clip, Poppy, Derek Jeter, A-Rod, and the great Kevin Burkhardt, the 4 of them will actually be calling the game tonight at Yankee Stadium. I know the Yankees don't have Aaron Judge, but the Sox are a bad baseball team. Like I came to that realization a long time ago, and we still own the Yankees. Love it. All right, we're going to take a 1-minute break. When we come back, staying in the NBA, but very, very exciting for Golden State Warriors fans like myself, because there's some LeBron James rumors, and they're only getting louder. Get to that, as well as why Caleb Williams was absolutely deserving to be on the cover of Madden 27 and my predictions, for Game 3 of the 2026 NBA Finals. All of that in just 1 minute on Carving Up Live. Appreciate everybody stopping by this morning. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Carving Up Live. Appreciate everybody stopping by on this special Saturday morning show. I'm not going to lie, man. Used to doing this show usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm fired up. I didn't get a ton of sleep last night because the game was crazy. You're prepping for the show and just the adrenaline of the finish. I'm fired up today. I'm probably going to crash in 3-4 hours, but I'm excited to be here in studio to discuss tons of basketball. We got some LeBron and the Warriors news coming up in just a moment. But first, check out our Carving It Up merchandise. Scan the QR code, top left corner of your screen. It'll take you to the Grid's website. You can check out hats, T-shirts, and what have you. Anything you can possibly think of when it comes to merchandise for Carving It Up. You can also check out our amazing content creators at the Grid Network. They got merch too. We got the All Even Podcast with Barry Grant Jr., the Metropolitan Report, Alfred Parsar Jr., you got the Cowboys Cam Fan, who have some merch on there as well. And if you just want Grid Network merch, we got that too. Hats, T-shirts. I've literally got a Grid Network hat right here. So, check out our stuff on the website. We'd appreciate it. I was actually going to wear that hat, to be honest with you. If my hair was giving me problems, I was like, the hair's doing okay. So I'm gonna go with that. Okay, so away from the finals for a moment. We'll get back to it later with Game 3 predictions. And to a team that will look quite old in a few weeks potentially, my beloved Golden State Warriors. So, as you all know, I am the very rare Warriors fan who obviously loves my team. Steph Curry is not just my favorite basketball player of all time, he's my favorite professional athlete of all time, and I'm not sure that'll ever change. That's how we all are, right? Whoever our favorite athlete was growing up, that doesn't change. Whether it's Michael Jordan or Joe Montana or whoever. Throw out any athlete you want. And I'm also simultaneously a massive fan of LeBron James. I have said, we don't have to get into it today. We'll do that in due time. I think he's the greatest basketball player of all time. He's bare minimum number 2. I've said for years the gap between him and Jordan is way closer than both Jordan fans and LeBron fans would be intellectually honest about and say that is the case. Always loved and respected LeBron. And it's been suggested, it's been floated for years. Man, LeBron and Steph as teammates. Now, obviously, had they been in their peak, if this had been 20, the closest they were to their primes at their points, they're 2017, 16, 17-ish, Steph and LeBron, put them together, it's unstoppable. It's the greatest duo of all time. Both guys are still pretty good, though. Steph Curry, albeit in limited action, and dealt with the knee injury this year, did average 26 a game. We obviously saw him have the massive playing game to almost single-handedly, along with Draymond, beat the Clippers. And then LeBron this season, when he was the main guy, still gave you, 28 and 9 through most games of the playoffs, was still efficient, was still dishing out assists, controlling the offense. Lakers didn't have Luka. They had to rely on LeBron to be their primary decision maker, and he did a pretty darn good job. Well, according to Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, he just reported this the other day, and I quote, "League sources are telling us at Clutch Points that the Warriors are very much open to pursuing LeBron James, and they plan to do so this offseason in free agency. LeBron James, at the end of his career, he can still contribute at a high level. We saw that in the playoffs. Pairing him with Steph Curry is going to be something that the Warriors look to pursue over the next few weeks. It seemed very doubtful. It seemed low percentage. Now it's kind of questionable. Now there's going to be some legs to this. The same source told us, listen to this, that Steph is planning on meeting and talking with LeBron about potentially joining the Warriors over the course of the next few weeks leading up to free agency." Now we know, when's the last time Steph, I can confirm this, has done some behind the scenes recruiting. That's the type of guy he is. He's not the type of dude who's oh, this is my team. I don't want anybody coming in and threatening, my stature. He doesn't care about that. Steph knows he's the man in Golden State. He'll always be the man in Golden State. Even when we talked about LeBron with the Heat earlier, LeBron was by far the best player in the Heat when he was there. It was still Dwayne Wade City. Dwayne Wade was drafted there. Dwayne Wade won a championship there. That's D-Wade City, Wade County. It'll always be Steph's town, whether it's Oakland, Bay Area, or Oakland is the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco. Here's not only why I think this will work, why I think it's going to happen. So I've been on this for months, and Lakers fans have disputed me on this. I've stuck to it, and the reporting says as much. The Lakers, and I don't even necessarily blame them. Obviously, it's Luka's franchise now. Austin Reeves going to be up for a long-term contract this summer. Well, both he and LeBron will, and they can't keep both for at the price that both might want. And LeBron understands. He's a smart guy. He sees new ownership in LA. Obviously, JJ Redick just finished his second year. There's kind of new regime in Los Angeles. It's Luka's franchise now. They're going to work at trying to put together the best basketball team around Luka. And as we documented throughout the course of the season, the Lakers were really good when it was just LeBron or just Luka, not necessarily when they were together. It wasn't. And so LeBron understands. Among teams that be interested in him, the Lakers are not the best fit. But LeBron also, it's very well documented, loves living in LA. Loves it. He's lived there in the offseason for a while, even prior to going to the Lakers. Now the fact he joined the Lakers, obviously his kids go to school there, and Bronny went to USC before coming to the Lakers, and Bryce and all that. I think Bryce is going to Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's going to be a great player there, by the way. He loves Los Angeles. Well, there's been speculation, hey, could he go to the Knicks? Well, number one, is he really going to go to a Knicks team that, if they finish the job, is going to be the defending champions? And it's like, it's going to feel like maybe for some people, oh, Bron jumped on the bandwagon, he's ring chasing, all of that. And it's the other end of the coast of the country. That's a long ways away from his family. Bay Area, it's like an hour and a half flight from Los Angeles. Like you can go back and forth if he needs to. So it's not a long travel from home and back. Also this too. It's also well documented. LeBron James, Draymond Green, very good friends. Obviously both represented at Clutch Sports by Rich Paul. And LeBron and Steph, I've always said LeBron and Steph's relationship is so fascinating. LeBron was like one of the, if not the first NBA superstar when Steph was tearing it up at Davidson in the NCAA tournament back in 2008. LeBron was kind of the first guy to kind of like, watch out for this. He was showing up to Davidson's games. He signed a jersey for Steph. They were kind of had a good relation when Steph first came to the league. And then they run into each other in the finals, and 2016 happens, and they're not on the greatest terms. And then I'd say since around 2020, 21, 22, somewhere around that time, you hear LeBron in interviews, they're asking like, hey, who's the one player you want to play with? It's like, oh, Steph Curry. And Steph has glowing things to say about LeBron, and we saw it all come together 2 years ago at the Olympics. Like they were the captains for us. LeBron was the official captain for Team USA, but Steph was his right-hand man, along with Kevin Durant, obviously. And the fit makes all the sense in the world. LeBron is arguably, along with Magic Johnson, the greatest passer in the history of the game. Steph's not only the greatest shooter of all time, Steph is the greatest off-ball player of all time. Like LeBron has said it religiously. He says it in interviews. He says in the podcast with Steve Nash, Steph Curry is more dangerous without the ball than he is with the ball, in that he can actually create more space, wear you down defensively, and just beat you mentally as much as he can physically without the basketball. That fit together, it's a match made in basketball heaven. And there's also the component of on the floor with the Warriors at their best, makes them at least an interesting team in the West. Listen, next year, the Spurs and Thunder are going to go in as maybe like the co-favorites to win the Western Conference, as they should. Both have superstars, arguably the two best players in the league, Wemby and Shea. Obviously, the deepest roster, certainly in the West. Great coaching staffs, great organizations, draft well. Spurs and Thunder will be running the West for the next 5 years, at least. But in that next tier, did the Denver Nuggets look like they know what they're doing in the front office in recent years? Because the Nuggets, since they won the championship, have just gone backwards. Lost in Game 7, second round 24. Lost Game 7 in the second round by blowout in 2025. Bounced in the first round by a beat Timberwolves team in 2026. Speaking of Minnesota, I kind of put them in that number 2 tier of Western Conference contenders next year. Lakers, maybe. Do you trust the roster construction from Pelinka? Has he given you the benefit of the doubt on that? I say no. By mid-season, once Jimmy Butler comes back from injury, what Jimmy will look like, hard telling. But a starting lineup of Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, Draymond Green, and you bring him back in free agency, Kristaps Porzingis. That is one of the best lineups in basketball. It's also one of the most injury-riddled, potentially. Draymond was mostly healthy throughout last year, but he's dealt with some, nagging injuries that guys get when they get older. LeBron James, obviously, for the first time in his career, missed the first month of last season with sciatica or something like that. Steph missed a chunk of last year from late January to early April with the knee injury. And Jimmy Butler's come off a catastrophic knee injury, an ACL. And Porzingis, we know his medical history and his health status is always up in the air. It's a risk. But at the same time, the Warriors are at a bit of a crossroads. Do you just say, because this has been a suggestion ever since it's been clear the Warriors are not going to get Giannis. Giannis is probably going to end up in Miami. Are the Warriors just going to be, okay, we'll be like the 7th, 8th, 9th best team in the West. We'll be in the play-in every year, and Steph will just kind of slowly fade into the sunset, and we'll get the 12th pick every year and just be mediocre. Basically, my greatest fear on planet Earth. They'll turn into the NBA version of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rooting for the Steelers is hard enough. Rooting for mediocrity is hard enough. For one team, I can't do it too. Can't do it too. Or you say, hey, just trade everybody, tear it down. I don't think you do that with the greatest player in the history of your franchise when he's still playing at an elite level in Steph Curry. So you say, darn it, man, Steve Kerr's coming back. Jimmy, barring a trade, which I don't see happening because I don't think anyone's going to take. It's an expiring contract, but I don't think anyone's going to take on Jimmy's contract. He's making in excess of $60 million a year. My guess is he remains with the Warriors. Let's just double down on the old guys. This is going to be the old guy, bus coming down the road and see if they can take on the youngsters. Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, LeBron, Porzingis. Build a decent bench from there. The Warriors do have a lottery pick. Good chance they'll take one of the good bigs in this draft. That'll help them. Give them some size. Give them some youth. You still have Pajimski drives me crazy at times, but he can still contribute off the bench. Guy Santos, who had an excellent season last year for the Warriors, stepping in due to the injuries. Will Richard. It's a good bench, deep, young. You'll have size and you'll have experience. I mean, experience hasn't exactly hurt the Knicks in the playoffs. Wouldn't you say that? I'm just saying. So LeBron and the Warriors, I couldn't be more excited. Couldn't be more excited about the possibility of this. Barry Grant Jr. is in the comments. He's trying to rain on my parade. He's a Lakers fan. With all due respect, the ship has sailed on this. Bron should have accepted the trade 2 seasons ago. Bron retiring in a Warriors uniform is California basketball blasphemy. Okay, well, listen. You know what? Wouldn't it have been cool? Think about this. If we could have seen like Magic and Bird play together with not the Lakers or Celtics, that'd have been weird. Of course, I guess it would have. LeBron's joining Steph's team. I'll play to your senses, Barry. If Larry Bird, I know the back injuries hurt him late in his career, but had joined the Lakers, I'm talking about late Larry Bird, like not prime, 3 straight MVPs, argue the best player in the world, Larry Bird. I'm talking 89, 90, end of his career Bird. Joins Magic, and they're competing for championships at the latter stages of their career. Like that'd have been cool. Like, I'm sorry, it would have been cool to watch. If nothing else, with Wemby, who I think at this point it's fair to say is the face of the league. I mean, he's had his struggles in the finals, but Wemby is, among the young guys, is the most ready to take on that role of being the face of the league. With Shea doing what he's doing, Jokic is still great. Giannis is going to have a new destination, likely in Miami, where he competes for championships, what have you. Wouldn't it be cool to kind of see the old guys all go out together? Which, I mean, how about this? How about this? You want to get really crazy? Let's get crazy for a second. It's Saturday morning. We're bouncing stuff off the wall. What if you trade? Because I don't think this franchise necessarily wants to keep this player because of potential locker room issues. Jimmy Butler, a pick, and Pajimski for Kevin Durant. As far as I know, the salaries work. And you say, you know what? We're basically recreating the 2024 Olympic team with Porzingis and Draymond. Steph, Durant, Bron, Draymond, Porzingis. Come on. Tell me that's not interesting. And tell me that team couldn't have a legitimate shot to win the Western Conference. The Spurs and Thunder would be easily the best 2 teams in the West going into next year. There's no question about that. But don't tell me that's not interesting. But Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, Bron, and Porzingis, I'm cool with that too. The big thing is Porzingis staying healthy, because when he was healthy, he played excellent for the Warriors last year, but that's always the concern. I do know Rick Celebrini, who's just a wizard in the Warriors, leading the Warriors medical team, felt like, I know this was documented last year in Golden State, that he felt like he kind of, because it was initially reported that Porzingis had an autoimmune disease called POTS. But then the Warriors and Steve Kerr said, no, that's actually not what it is after they did some testing. All I know is that once they kind of got to that initial phase of Porzingis joining, he was mostly available and healthy. Small sample size, but he was available. But that's always going to be a question with him. So yeah, listen, we'll have a whole full-blown celebration if Bron does this. Bron and Steph together? Are you kidding me? I mean, it's what basketball needs. It's great for the league. All right, let's transition now to something that has got football social media kind of worked up right now, because there's obviously not a ton of football. Well, we had the 2 trades earlier this week, but other than that, not much. So it was announced, got leaked on social media, then Madden confirmed it. Caleb Williams, the cover of Madden. And it's got a lot of people worked up. Oh my gosh, it should have been Myles Garrett, to which I said, a little tough because he just got traded. If you remember with the NBA 2K18, I think it was, Kyrie Irving was on the cover in a Cavs jersey. Well, he got, before the season, got traded to Boston, so they had to do it. I actually have the original cover of him in a Cavs jersey. They had to change it to him in a Celtics jersey. So, that was a little convoluted. They could have Myles Garrett. Sure, the trade would have made that a little messy. Stafford, I hear that. I absolutely hear that. Hey, he's the MVP of the league. He's a top 3 quarterback, I think, in the league. Stafford being in this position, he's going to have a chance to compete for another MVP, another Super Bowl. Give him one Madden cover before he leaves. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But for those that are saying, hey, Caleb Williams hasn't done enough to be the cover of Madden, here's what I tell you, is that we've had plenty of guys that weren't, A-list, top 10 best players in the NFL that were Madden covers earlier in their career. I'm looking at the list right now. Vince Young in Madden 08. Now, again, looking back, it's like, Vince Young, awesome college quarterback, was not a good NFL quarterback. He was on the cover. You think about somebody earlier in the career, Odell Beckham Jr., after year 2, my bad, after year 1, after his rookie year, was on the cover of Madden, making the one-handed catch. You think about somebody like Lamar Jackson, early in his career. Now, he's coming off an MVP, to be fair. He's on the cover. You think about somebody like Josh Allen, prior to winning a single MVP, he's on the cover. Saquon Barkley, on the cover. I was thinking about this. So much of being on the cover of Madden is not just, who's the best player? It is, because Madden obviously appeals generally to a younger audience. The whole point of the game itself, John Madden created it, or was the head of this project, to educate more young people about football. Hand to God, that's how I learned how football works. The rules, everything. 15 years ago, I played Madden as a kid, fell in love with football. That was, loved the game, played it, got addicted to the game, got addicted to football, and that hasn't changed. You're appealing to a younger audience. Where are the young folks at? Social media. A couple of players in that list, Odell Beckham Jr., have maybe the most iconic social media moment in NFL history, the one-handed catch on Sunday Night Football against Dallas. He's in the cover the next year making the one-handed catch. Saquon Barkley, unbelievable season in 2024. He's on the cover 2025. Why? Or not, well, why? Partly because the Eagles won the Super Bowl and he was OPOY, but also the backwards hurdle against Jacksonville. That's on the cover. The Gronk spike. That's on the cover. What's Caleb Williams on the cover doing? The Iceman. What was the most iconic moment, I would argue, from last year's regular season? The game-winning touchdown pass to beat Green Bay when they made that insane comeback on that primetime Saturday night game in Chicago. I absolutely said, folks just saying, he's not good enough to have made the cover. Did you watch him last year? Just the numbers, straight up. He had 30 total touchdowns and 7 picks. That's pretty good. 58% completion. Listen, we've said it. I've said it as a Caleb Williams fan. He's got to improve that. He is, and I think that's going to be has been a point of emphasis for him, for Ben Johnson. He's got to get better at his accuracy, and I think he will. He had 4,300 total yards and 90 pass rating, QBR 0 to 158. And in the fourth quarter and overtime of games, he was the Iceman. He was the definition of clutch. Show you those numbers. 14 total touchdowns and 3 picks. Again, the completion percentage, it's got to get better. He had a 95 rating at 7 game-winning drives. What do you want to do? He had a playoff game at home against Green Bay, down 21-3, leads them back to win it. If you talk about the most clutch guys in the NFL, the most clutch quarterbacks, Like, guys, if you take the guys, ball in their hands, you trust them to go get you what you need. Game-winning field goal, touchdown, what have you. Patrick Mahomes is my number one. Mahomes' numbers in the clutch in the playoffs are absolutely absurd. Number two, I would say Matthew Stafford. Stafford's made a career. If you go back to Detroit of game-winning drives, number three would be Caleb Williams. Josh Allen's not that clutch, folks. Lamar Jackson, same thing. Burrow, did you watch him last year? He had an opportunity to be clutch against Buffalo. It was awful late in that game in the fourth quarter, and has had moments, similar to that. He got against the Browns in Week 18. You can trust Caleb Williams. Ball in his hands. He's the Iceman. Take a deep breath. He's good. He's mellow, so to speak. Puts the Bears in position to win football games. So he's absolutely, if you want to appeal to the younger audience, you see, oh my gosh, there's this young guy in Chicago, this young quarterback. Bears have never had a franchise quarterback, ever. This kid is not only ridiculously talented, but is ridiculously clutch. And by the way, he's got an iconic celebration, the Iceman. Now I'm talking about the real Iceman, not the Canadian rapper, not that guy. Odell had the one-handed catch. Saquon had the backwards hurdle. Gronk has the spike. Caleb's got the Iceman. Like that's what it is. And got a chance to show it a lot during last season, twice against the Packers. And don't tell me those national television games, did that not help Odell? If that one-handed catch had come against the Falcons on a 1 o'clock game, it gets buzz, but it was the fact. Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. That's a big reason it blew up. Caleb Williams, Saturday night, standalone game against the Green Bay Packers. Bears-Packers, that is the NFL rivalry. Came out clutch not once, but twice. One to basically wrap up the NFC North, and the other to beat Green Bay in a playoff game at home. Both standalone games, both Saturday night games, came up clutch twice. Those matter. Now, Saquon's against Jacksonville, it's a little weird because it was a midday game. The Jaguars weren't that good that year, but it was so freakish of a play. It's like we'd never seen anything like that before, and he had a great season. That's why they put him on the cover. But folks act like, oh, Caleb Williams wasn't that good last year. Numbers say otherwise. Clutch factor says otherwise. The Bears' season says otherwise. I have absolutely no problem whatsoever with him being on the cover. The only guy I would say that if you're like, oh, X player should be the cover, I got no problem with that, would be Matthew Stafford. He's late in his career. He just won league MVP. He's one of the three best quarterbacks in the league. I would have no problem with that. Other than that, yeah, I'd give it to Caleb. I give it to Caleb. You're selling it to a younger audience. I think that's the biggest thing. Let's see. John Rivera, let's go Knicks. LOL. John's he lives in New York, but he's a Bulls fan. He's had to go through a lot with his basketball team recently. So you know what? I've seen a lot of people who live in New York that are fans of, I don't think I've ever met a Nets fan in my life. Fans of, John, the Bulls. My man Bear Grant Jr. lives in New York. He's a Lakers fan. And I've seen some Miami Heat fans and all this. And it's just like the diehard Knicks fans and the just native I love New York, New Yorkers. It's like just the entire city, even unless they're like some Spurs fans, like just scattered through the four boroughs. It's unbelievable to watch the city come together through this. And I'm telling you, man, MSG in Game 3 is going to be absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Game 4, if they go up 3-0, and they've got a shot to wrap this thing up in Game 4, I mean, it will be a war zone in New York's on Madison Avenue. I'm telling you right now, like lock your doors, hide your kids. It's gonna be crazy town. I mean, you see how Knicks fans react on a random Tuesday night in November against the Nets or something. I mean, the fans go viral every game. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be insane. I hope the series goes longer than I think it probably will. But I can't lie about what I'm seeing. I picked the Spurs in 7. Do we see them winning 4 of 6 games the way this Knicks team's playing? Could they get 1, 2, maybe 4? That's a reach. Back to Caleb. Patrick says the biggest ire Caleb Williams is getting. The deluxe edition cover with the hands across the shoulder and nails painted. That's what the fuss is about. Okay, so I've said this about the nails painted thing. Like, listen, it's not what I would do. It's not my choice of fashion. But folks who tried to make, I've said it 1,010 times. I'll say 1,011th time. Folks have tried to make the nails and the crying with the mom and stands like, oh, see, he can't be a leader. Well, I don't know. He's a pretty good leader. The Bears are the best comeback team in the league last season. He's a pretty hard worker because he goes from an okay year 1 to an excellent year 2, getting the Bears to the playoffs for the first time in a half decade and being their first franchise quarterback ever. And this whole thing, either the crying, the nails, personal choice. It is what it is. Like, you do you. I'm very much a guy, as long as you're not harming anybody, as long as you're not hurting someone, committing crimes, I really don't care. The motion thing, I said this about Wemby after game 7. Give me the athlete who cares maybe too much, so to speak, over the one that doesn't care enough. It's perfect that we're talking about the Chicago Bears. Bears fans have seen a quarterback that didn't give pardon my French, a damn about football. Jay Cutler. You enjoy that experience? Then you got Caleb. You'll take that. Patrick, worst Madden cover athlete, former Browns running back Peyton Hillis. Yeah, that was that one's still kind of, that was Madden 12. I'm looking at the Madden list now. Yeah, that was Madden 12. That was a confusing one. I'm not gonna lie. Peyton Hill's a hero, by the way. What he's done in his personal life, but that was definitely a confusing cover. I mean, I'm looking at the covers right now in the 21st century. So John Madden was the cover of like the first 12 games. So he's the cover of Madden 2000, and then from there, I'm looking at the list. Eddie George, Dante Culpepper. Looks like Marshall Falk. Michael Vick was the cover in 04. That game was like where you could play quarterback. Like, it was almost like a VR experience before VR. It was really cool. Ray Lewis, the cover in 05. Donovan McNabb, Sean Alexander, Vince Young. That was a confusing one. Brett Favre, then 2010. That was after that amazing Super Bowl between the Steelers and Cardinals, which I actually was watching the other night. You had Troy Polamalu, Larry Fitzgerald. Madden 11, Drew Brees. Madden 12, Peyton Hillis. That was a confusing one Patrick was talking about. Madden 13 was the first one I played with Calvin Johnson. Madden 25 is the 25-year anniversary. Barry Sanders was in the cover. Then you got Richard Sherman, Odell Beckham Jr., Gronk, Brady, Antonio Brown, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Then you had the MVP edition. You had Brady and Mahomes on the cover, which is personally my favorite cover of all time. That is, to me, those are the 2 greatest quarterbacks ever. You got him on the cover. That's fantastic. John Madden was the cover in 2023 because that was actually the year that, after he passed, so they want to honor him, they put him on the cover. And then it's Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and now you've got Caleb Williams. Patrick says, I want to see the Knicks fan with the articulated python wearing a little hat. Poor Snake just chilled like this is normal and doesn't bother me. Listen, you will. I was in New York for 3 days. 3 days? Yeah, 3 days. In December for the House of Highlights shoot. And I absolutely positively loved it. It's the most unique city you've ever been in. It's fast-paced, which I actually love. I love that no one's a slow walker. That's sometimes what drives me crazy about Disney, is that people are like, oh, get to it. Let's go. This is a fast-paced environment. But you will see just about anything. Including, yes, the articulated python in New York. It's a dope city. I can't wait to go back. And so if I troll Yankee fans, I'll continue to troll Yankee fans once again, because last night, as we all knew,
Yankees lose.
I'll always troll them. That said, New Yorkers are great. The city's great. There was actually a moment, then we'll move on, take a break, then predict game 3. There was a moment. Actually, I forget the joint. It's going to drive me crazy. I had a slice of my first New York pizza. First night, me and my family got there. And it was in a little parlor. It wasn't, very big. Eat the pizza. By the way, it's freezing. We actually I got the chance to meet. Do we have the picture on here by any chance? I don't think we do. No, we don't have it. But got to meet my guys, Barry Grant Jr., Alfred Parslow Jr. Had dinner the next night. It was unbelievable. We were there for 3 hours. It felt like 30 minutes. It was a blast. But they were saying, hey, it's cold even for New York. It was freezing outside. And I opened the door to go out. My family's kind of trailing behind a little bit. So I'm holding the door, trying to be a gentleman, right? Some guy in the back of the pizza parlor. Hey, shut the door. Sorry. It's like you're welcome to New York moment. That was it. It was a great experience. No question about it. My mom just texted me. She's watching the show. She said, your friends liked us better. You know what? I don't know if Barry's still watching or Alfred's watching. I don't think they would disagree with that, Mom. I don't think they disagree. It was definitely a good night. So we'll definitely have to do it again, hang out more in the city. It's freaking love New York. Love it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Speaking of New York, then the finals are shifting to New York. Knicks, Spurs, New York's up 2-0. Are they going to go up 3-0? Or San Antonio going to get right back in the series? Talk about that in just 1 minute on Carving Up Live. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Carving Up Live. I appreciate everybody for stopping by on this Saturday morning. Love the interactions throughout the show. It's been really fun. And if the series, the way the finals are structured, we're having to kind of realign when these shows are. So again, normally, as many of you know, the show is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Well, because of the finals, we had the show on Monday. Game 1 was on Wednesday, so it's like there's no point in doing a show Wednesday. Let's just do it the next day and react to Game 1. And then Game 2 was last night. Normally, I'd react to the Friday game on Monday, but Game 3 is on Monday, so I'm not going to react to Game 2 when Game 3 is hours away. So just do the show today. So obviously, that means if Game 3 is on Monday, we'll be back on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time, back to our normal time as usual. And then I guess after that, we'll be live again on Thursday after Game 4. So back-to-back Thursday shows. And then Game 5, in theory, will be on Saturday. We can react to that on Monday. And then Game 6 will be on Tuesday. We could do the reaction Wednesday. Game 7 will be on a Friday. I mean, I picked Spurs to 7. Do we see it getting that far? I might have just tipped my hand for my Game 3 pick, but what the heck. Let's get to our Game 3 predictions. Here we go. So, Knicks are up 2 on the finals. They did it with a fourth quarter, not really a rally, but just kind of dominating the fourth quarter came back in the second half, dominated the fourth quarter in Game 1. Brunson was special late. And then in Game 2, they outplayed the Spurs for quarters 2 and 3, drastic, and for half of quarter 4. And then the Spurs make a furious rally, tie the game. It goes back and forth. And again, there's the catastrophic mistake by Wemby at the end, and the Knicks end up winning. So, Game 3, Monday night, the Knicks, I still feel like Vegas is disrespecting the Knicks. Maybe this is just, hey, this will not be a sweep, right? The Knicks at home, 2.5-point favorites. Mind you, the Spurs at home in Game 2, 5.5-point favorites. Now, to be fair, this wasn't if I were a Batman, but if it was, I would have picked the Spurs minus 5.5. I did pick the Spurs minus 5.5, and they lost straight up. And there's they can tie the series. There's desperation for San Antonio, not for the Knicks. Got it. At the same time, we've talked about it, honestly, since Game 4 when they swept the Cavs and advanced to the finals for the first time since '99. That building is going to be an insane asylum. It's going to be madness the second. You see sometimes at, I think it's like at Cowboys games, like Cowboys playoff games. These poor people are in for a disappointment. When they open the doors, the fans just rush in like a stampede. That's what you're going to see at MSG. Prayers for the security guards, for the police on standby. It's going to be a tough night. So the atmosphere is going to be insane. The Knicks have been a team throughout these playoffs that have risen to the occasion. They've lost one game at home in these playoffs. That was Game 2, the first round against the Hawks. Again, I know the Hawks got annihilated in Game 6. Maybe we're not giving them enough respect. They did beat the Knicks twice in that series. Lost against CJ McCollum game winner. So the Knicks' margin of victory, these playoffs at home. Game 1 against Atlanta, they won by 11. Game 2, they lost by 1. Game 5 against Atlanta, they won by 16. Game 1 against the Sixers, they won by 39. Game 2 against Philly, they won by 6. Game 1 against the Cavs, they won 11 in overtime after trailing by 22 with 7 minutes to go. So they dominated the last 12 minutes of that game. Game 2 against the Cavs, they won by 16. So they've been crushing everybody at home. San Antonio's desperate, but we also know this. And maybe this year the rules don't apply to the finals, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think the Stars will step up. After hearing what Wemby said in that press conference, taking full accountability for the end of that game, I think Wemby's like, oh my God, we can't. I can't have that moment. He even touched on this. I can't have that moment, weeping after Game 7 against the Thunder, which I had no problem with. I love it when athletes care. And then go down 3-0 and on the verge of getting swept out of my first finals. That can't happen. I think Wemby, this man has a 40-point game on Christmas at Madison Square Garden's resume. He's not scared of the big moments. We've talked about that at length on this show. This could be Wemby's best game of the finals. We could be talking 35 and 12 with 4 blocks. What about the others? I think Fox steps up. He's a veteran. He's not scared of the moment. Big spot. Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, even for some of the guys on the bench, Kelvin Johnson. This is a big spot. And even guys like off the bench, Harrison Barnes, Luke Cornett, they're veterans, but they're not going to give you a ton. I actually think this game is relatively close throughout. I don't think this should be solid if they run to it the Knicks. Just out of pure desperation, San Antonio's going to play their tails off on defense. I can see the Knicks getting off to a slow start. The Spurs, all playoffs long, they get out the gates fast. They have the first 2 games of this series. But Brunson has another big fourth quarter. Pat maybe doesn't dominate defensively because I think Wemby's going to show up, but also kind of makes those little big plays throughout the course of this basketball game. Continues, maybe hits push for finals MVP. Brunson goes off. Knicks go up 3 games to 9. 105-98. After Monday night, the New York Knicks will be 1 win away from their first championship in 53 years. I'll be honest, I really hope I'm wrong. I would love to see San Antonio win, this thing go to game 4. And it's like, oh my God, the Spurs going to take both at MSG in this game. The series totally flips. I'd love to be right. For those of you that don't know, I picked Spurs to beat the Knicks back in February. Spurs over the Knicks in the finals. So I wanted to stick to that. But there are just matchups the Knicks exploit in the sense of, as unstoppable as Wemby is down low defensively, having him have to guard Cat on the outside, he's not down there as much. And then when he's out of the game, the Knicks just attack the rim relentlessly. Luke Cornett's good. He's not that good. So there you go. All right. That is all the time we have for today's show. I appreciate everybody stopping by on the Saturday morning. Got you some coffee, some breakfast, what have you. Kick your feet up and watch Carving Up Live or listen to the show, what have you. We really, really, really appreciate it. Check us out. We're not coming back on Monday because Game 3 is on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time right here on YouTube, as well as on Facebook, Twitch, X, and on Instagram. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. Hope you all have a great weekend. Please continue to stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Peace out. And subscribe. And
Yankees lose.
thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.